Hey y'all, we are in week 6 of our trucking authority. And like I said, this week we're going to talk a little bit more about numbers. I've got a whiteboard I'm going to put up at the end to kind of lay them out there so you can see how it went week to week. Let's start it off. Back in August of 2019, I was reminded about my ultimate goal. And that I should follow my original plans. You know, follow your dreams. Do what it is you've always wanted to do. And I was at Advanced Trucking, which is a great company, making 85% of whatever I negotiated on the spot market. And they had already helped me get to my direct shipper. That's a good rate. I mean, it's a good rate, but it wasn't my goal. And it's always been my plan to have my own independent trucking company, 100% running company trucks and grow until I just can't grow anymore. I don't know how long or how big we'll grow, but we're going to do our best. So I started to look at my bank account and I started to do some rough figures. And things have been doing really well for us, so I had about $16,000 saved up. And so I got to figure, and I put the pencil to it, and we still were working every week with Advanced. And I decided to go ahead, after talking with my wife, because your spouse has always got to be on board. If you don't have your wife on board, don't bother. It's going to be hard on you. So while we were still working, I was able to take the profits that I made each week and use those to cover the expenses for the authority, the insurance down payment, the tags, and all of that. So by the time it come time for me to leave Advanced, I still had $16,000 in the bank, which was about $1,000 more than what I was figuring when I decided to get my own authority. So I was pumped. I knew once I left Advanced, I would have that last check still coming on the following Friday, and I would have to have a week off to go and have everything set up and organized. I'm still not really organized, but we're working on it. We're working on it. It's a work in progress. My biggest problem is I don't have space to really get organized. So we're going to work on that next year. But once I got that last check at Advanced that would help me cover that week, I knew that I would have 30 days that I wouldn't have a check because I did not want to factor. I had already talked to my direct shipper, and it's in the contract for 30 days before you get your money. Well, they'll have it to you before 30 days. And let me tell you, they went right to the minute. It always seems harder when you're living it because you're already a little stressed. And I never honestly thought that I was going to be as stressed as I was. It kind of took me for a surprise. So it was a gamble. It was a little risky, but you know, life is risky. Life is a gamble of sorts. You know, you have to take a risk sometimes to get ahead. I stayed prayed up, I stayed in it, and I worked hard. I was rolling on a wing and a prayer to make it through to the other side. So I started taking loads under my own authority and slowly watched those funds dip down until finally in our 5th week, the checks began to come. We were down pretty low in the business account. I had a little bit left in our personal account, and I was waiting to pay bills because if I needed that money to roll over in the business account, I could have made it a couple more weeks if something happened and our money got held up. Or, you know, riding that close, one breakdown, anything could have broke the bank. You'll see in a little while how low it did get. Now, keep in mind, by low, once you have your own authority, You don't have that cushion above you of a company that may help you out of a bind. So whatever funds you have is whatever funds you have. You are on your own. You know, you can't fall back on anybody but maybe a bank if you had a line of credit, and I do not have a line of credit. So one breakdown or a 2-week delay on our pay, and we would have been really hurting. But this amount I kept in the bank pretty much the entire time I was at Snyder once I started making money. Very seldom did I get more than that, you know. But we're talking about a totally different thing. Snyder's a great company, but to work there, it costs you a lot. I might go through that if I have time on this video. I might do a second whiteboard behind the one that I've got prepared, just to show you the differences on one of my weeks. I'm not going to go into depth on my rates and my pay and all that, but I would like to show you the differences, the way I see it, and the money in between. But yeah, I mean, it was difficult. Now this week in our own authority, we were able to do some things to the truck. I've got some things still planned out to do this coming weekend. But next week, whenever I make the video, we're going to have some big news. I'm going to release some big news next Friday. So y'all stay tuned for that one. I'm fixing to show y'all the little board that I got prepared for you. And we'll go from there. So hang in there, and I'll see you in just a minute. Alright, I'm back. I hope this will help y'all see. As you can see, I'm sure you're looking straight at the bottom. $27.78 is what we had before our first deposit started going in the bank. So week number 1, we had $16,000. Fuel was $600. Fixed cost was $700. Every week our fixed cost was $700. I pay myself $1,200, and that's to keep my household going and anything else that might pop up. So week 2, we had $13,500 left. We spent $664 in fuel. Our fixed $700. Driver $12. So week number 3, that brought us down to $10,935.05. Fuel the next week, because I had kind of pushed it on that one. I got 3 fuels in that week. I normally only have to fuel twice. So it was $1197.55. Now about right up in there at week 3, we got our Loves card. That's where I get my fuel at 90% of the time. And that really don't help that much, because every 7 days it comes. Every Monday they send me an invoice, and Tuesday they're taking it out of the bank. So it don't buy you much time, but it does buy you a couple days. So by week number 4, we were down to $78.37.50 to start the week off. And then we had the fuel, $440. I stretched it again. Fixed $700, driver $1,200. So at the beginning of week number 5, we had $5,497.50. And we made it through the week. Now, before our first deposits went in, we had done spent this. Because I think we put our first deposits in like Thursday or something. You'll see that. My board went all crazy. Look what it did to my number. Anyway, yeah, that's how low it got before we got our first deposits in there. Man, I was glad. I was sweating them. I mean, we started October 1st, and I didn't know if we were going to get our money in. It was hurting. It was hurting, but I'm going to go ahead and I got time to hit another board real quick with some numbers on it to show you the differences between Authority, Advanced, and Snyder, and kind of what I've been doing. So hold on just a second and we'll have that ready. Alright, y'all, I'm back. Now, what I was saying earlier is the difference between 100%, 85%, 65%. Now, these are representations of each week. I may or may not have made this much each week with my own authority. This is what I would get 100% of. This is what I would get 85% of. And this is what I would get 65% of. So that's $660 for week number 1 at 15%. $780 at week number 2. $801 week number 3. And $750 week number 4. So that's $2,991 a month that we would have paid advanced at 15%. Now that's still a great rate because you're working a spot market. You're making good money. Subtract that and you'll see what you're making. On Snyder's side, that's $1,540, $1,820, $1,869, $1,750. So that's $6,979 a month that we would be paying to Snyder. So let me clarify a little bit more. Your expenses are a little lower at Snyder. They're a little bit higher when you go to advanced. And then they're a little bit higher when you go get your own authority. You need to do the math. You need to do your due diligence and find out how much each step will bring up your expenses. This may not be good for you. You may be happy here or you may be happy here. There's a million ways to make it in the trucking business. For me, this is where I want to be. It's more to manage. It's more to take care of. And it's only going to get more difficult for me. But I believe I can handle it. And I believe y'all can handle it if you put your minds to it. But it's a step process. I tell y'all all the time, it's a step. I started out as a company driver. Then I went to Snyder. Got my truck, stayed there a long time. Then I went to Advanced. I stayed there longer than I intended to because they are a great company. Advanced Trucking out of Indianapolis, Indiana. Then you have your own authority. It's a lot to learn, but with the help of a company like OOIDA, you can get it done. And you can still be running a truck. Proof is in the pudding. I'm doing it. I may or may not have made that. I'm not going to tell you 100% sure. All right, now, for a month, that's a lot. $7,000 a month to be able to run for a company. They're a great company and they make it really easy. Is it worth that much? You be the judge. Is it worth that much? Or is this where you want to be? God bless. I will catch you on the next ride.